Hey y'all, so today we're going to be replacing the oil pressure sending unit on a 2007 Ford Escape. I'm going to show you the tools that you're going to need to do the job, and then we're going to go through it step by step, and I'm going to show you how to do it without pulling the AC compressor. And then at the end, I'm going to show you an extra step that I took that you may or may not need to depending on why you're replacing the sensor. Let's get started.
So for this job, you're going to need a 3/8 ratchet, a 13/16 deep socket, an oil filter wrench. You may or may not need a pick. You will need a drain pan, and then you're going to need a replacement filter and the replacement sensor. I used Napa for the filter and Motorcraft for the sensor. As you can see, the sensor is tucked up there behind the AC compressor. Initially, I thought I was going to have to pull the AC compressor out of the way to get to it, but I found out that if you just remove the filter, it allows you enough space to get up there and access it. We're going to start by removing the oil filter using the oil filter wrench. I always recommend replacing an oil filter when you remove one from a vehicle because more than likely you're going to damage the old filter with the wrench, and also you don't want to reuse that seal and have an oil leak. So now that that's out of the way, it allows us enough space to reach that connector. This is where you may or may not need a pick. I have small hands, so fortunately I was able to just take it off. And once you've got that connector out of the way, you can get your ratchet up in there. Don't worry if you struggled getting the ratchet in there, so did I. I know YouTube makes everything look easy, but it was a struggle. So you can go ahead and start loosening it, and once it gets to a certain point, you can take the ratchet out and just take it the rest of the way off by hand. I also recommend using a ratchet with a shorter handle. So now that it's loose, I can take it the rest of the way out by hand. Oops. So as you can see, that connector is pretty filled with oil. Before I started this job, I went ahead and replaced the valve cover gaskets on the vehicle. They were leaking oil down onto that sensor and causing it to intermittently flash the oil light on the dash. So the extra step that I took, that I was talking about at the beginning of this video, is spraying out that connector with some of this electronic cleaner and then blowing it dry. That way I'm not installing an oil-filled connector onto the new sensor and possibly causing it to fail as well. The installation is going to be the reverse of removal, and that's all. Thanks for watching.